The billionaire had expected many things that morning: business proposals, meetings, reports, but he never expected a little girl in a rusty wheelchair to look him in the eyes and say the one sentence that shattered him completely. "Please don't adopt me, adopt my mom instead." For a moment, time froze. Mark Donovan, one of the wealthiest men in the country, stood speechless. The girl's voice trembled, not with fear, but with a kind of fragile courage he had never seen before. Her name was Ara. 9 years old. Soft eyes. Thin hands folded tightly in her lap as if she were afraid they might reveal the life she had lived. Behind her stood her mother, Lena, holding her breath as if even breathing too loudly might make her daughter's request disappear. Mark had come to their neighborhood for charity work. He had seen poverty before, but something about this mother and daughter stopped him. Maybe it was the way the mother pushed the wheelchair with gentle hands, trying to hide her exhaustion. Maybe it was the way Ara smiled despite the pain she tried to conceal. Or maybe it was the way both of them held onto each other, like two souls trying to survive in a storm. He had offered to sponsor the girl's treatment. But the girl had misunderstood. Or maybe she hadn't. Because when she said those words, tears filled her eyes. And Mark understood, this wasn't just about money. This was about fear. Love. Sacrifice. And a secret. Ara's world. Ara had been in a wheelchair since the age of 5. A rare spinal condition had slowly taken away her ability to walk. Her father left soon after, unable to handle the responsibility. That was the day her world shrank, but her mother's grew heavier. Lena worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs. Cleaning houses. Sewing clothes. Cooking for neighbors. Anything that kept them from sleeping hungry. She would wake up at dawn and sleep past midnight, but she never complained, not out loud. Ara knew. Children always know. Every new crack in her mother's hands. Every time her mother hid her coughing. Every time she skipped a meal and said she wasn't hungry. Poverty was not just a condition. It was a shadow that followed them everywhere. But love followed too. The day everything changed. Mark was visiting the area for an inspection of the charity homes his foundation funded. He hated staged events, so he insisted on walking through the streets without cameras. That's when he saw the little girl's wheelchair get stuck on a broken road. Her mother struggled, sweating, trying to lift it herself. Without thinking, he ran to help. He lifted the wheelchair gently, surprised at how light the girl was, too light. She smiled up at him. "Thank you, sir." And that was the moment, when a billionaire and a wheelchair girl locked eyes, that everything shifted. Something inside him stirred. A kind of ache he had buried long ago. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier, and they had lost their unborn child with her. The silence of his mansion had grown heavier each passing day. And now, here was this small, fragile girl looking at him with gratitude instead of fear. Something in him softened. The offer. After giving them groceries and medicine, he returned the next day, then the next. He brought a doctor for Ara. He had ramps built along their street. He had the wheelchair repaired. The neighbors whispered that the billionaire was planning to adopt the girl. Lena panicked. She had already lost so much. She could not lose her daughter too. One evening, after seeing Mark look at Ara with fatherly warmth, Ara grabbed his hand softly. And she said the sentence that changed everything. "Please don't adopt me, adopt my mom instead." Lena gasped, covering her mouth. Mark blinked, stunned. "Why would you say that?" Ara's voice cracked. "Because I can live anywhere. I can survive anything. But my mom, she is tired. She pretends to be strong, but I see everything. She needs rest. She needs someone who takes care of her. Not me." Then tears rolled down her cheeks. "She gives me everything she has. I just want her to have someone too." Mark's heart broke in a way no business failure, no tragedy had ever broken it before. The struggles that followed. 1. Gossip and misunderstanding. News spread. Rumors exploded. People accused Lena of manipulating the billionaire. She cried at night thinking she had ruined everything. 2. Ara's health declining. Ara's condition worsened. She needed surgery soon. Mark offered to sponsor everything, but Lena refused at first, afraid of debt and judgment. 3. Mark's emotional conflict. He wanted to protect them both. But he was afraid of replacing the family he lost. Afraid of failing them. 4. Financial pressure on Lena. Lena's employer fired her when they heard a billionaire was involved. They assumed she no longer needed the job. They lost half their income overnight. The turning point. One night, Ira fainted from pain. Mark rushed them to the hospital himself, his hands shaking as he carried the thin, unconscious girl. The doctor said she needed surgery within a month. Lena broke down. "I can't pay. I can't." Mark placed his hand on her shoulder and said, "You don't have to do this alone." She sobbed. "Why are you helping us?" His voice trembled. "Because someone once told me that family is not always blood. Sometimes it's the hearts that choose each other." Lena finally agreed. The surgery was scheduled. The miracle. Ira's surgery lasted 6 hours. Mark and Lena sat outside, praying silently, both afraid to hope. When the doctor came out smiling, Lena fell to her knees in relief. "She will live," the doctor said. "She will recover." Mark helped Lena stand. And she didn't let go of his hand. A new beginning. Over the next months, Ira recovered beautifully. She wasn't able to walk yet, but the pain was gone. She was stronger. She was happier. Mark visited daily. Soon, he wasn't just a visitor. He was part of their life. One evening, Ira held both their hands and whispered, "See, I didn't want you to adopt me. I wanted you to adopt each other." Lena blushed, stunned. Mark smiled softly. And something warm blossomed between them. The ending that inspires. Mark didn't adopt them. He married Lena. Ira walked the first few steps of her therapy holding Mark's hand, tears in everyone's eyes. The girl who once begged a billionaire to adopt her mother had gained both a father and a family. And Mark had found what all his money could never buy. A home with love, laughter, and second chances.